That's from this pork. So, hey, is Cooper here? Oh, you're on. Your mic's on. Cooper should come and help me.
Jimmy, you like my new trademark?
Huh?
At the butcher?
I like the hat.
Huh?
It's kind of a trademark thing. I think it's a logo.
That's
It's
right.
part of the logo.
Hello.
Yeah.
It's hot in here.
Huh?
It's hot in here.
It's hot in here. The air conditioning issue with all the ovens and stuff. And they aren't even on.
So what time are we starting?
Start at 9, so let me ask Jen.
The problem is I only have like 2 accounts. So, like, I keep trying to push shit on the same accounts. You know, there's a couple of my accounts I'm trying to buy for so, I was telling you that, yo, like, you're already tired of me pushing shit.
And you know what? That's not like a little bit
So we confirm, will you ask that if anybody has not signed in with Jan, that they do so before they leave? Just to make sure. I mean, I could do it, but you got your microphone. Is it on?
Probably better if you do, because I'm going to start the presentation on this, or I'm talking about that before I start the presentation. You know what I mean?
Okay, do you want me to do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a 6x1 too, right?
You want me to introduce him?
Will you also ask? Hey, Jan.
Could you do me a favor? Make a note of your guys' name,
Okay.
so I know who was here.
Yeah.
Now I have to start making notes at this point. Good morning, everyone. We're going to get started. Welcome to the Whole Hog Butchery by our master butcher, Pat Hobbs.
Morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah, he's on mic, I'm not. So, just a quick note, little housekeeping before we get started. Pay close attention to this. This is a dying art. It's something that, you know, older folks like Pat and myself have
Cheers.
learned. And you don't see this happening in restaurants every day anymore. It doesn't happen anymore. So it's really interesting and informative, and it really tells you where parts come from on the animal. And it's important to know that. So before we get started,
Is it taped? Because it will move around.
Justin and Joseph down here from Rationale, we'd like to thank them for coming. They're preparing some food. They're actually preparing some heritage pork. We'd like to thank Nathan Rakoff and Jeff Bloom, who isn't here. Yes, Jeff Bloom is here. Okay, good. Right here front and center for donating the hog. Okay, so the hog had a very great life. I happen to know at Jeff's farm up in Hapatula Valley, they are from Alpine Local Meats. Their products are available for sale here retail at Specialty Produce. You should know that. I happen to know this hog had a very good life in just one moment on one bad day. That's all it was. And it was quick. I was there. We have a special treat for you today. Myself and our 2 hog farmers have a collaborative project going on, and we are making prosciutto from these hogs old school style. We brought some prosciutto, 17 months aged prosciutto. played a little of that with some reserve Manchego cheese for you to just try and see what it's about. You'll try some of the hog, also some belly and some other products there that Justin's put together. Did I miss anybody, Jan? The video, yeah. If you end up coming up in front, you're probably going to be on camera, so just be warned. We're not, we're making you sign any waivers today, so I think we're good to go, basically. So without any further ado, Pat Hawks, everybody. Pat Hawks, Master Victor.
I think it's going to come off. You got to tape it.
There we go.
You got some tape to put on it?
We do, yes.
Get some, because it'll come off. 2 minutes. There you go.
There we go.
Thank you, sir. Good? Yeah. Well, good morning. I'm going to say it again. Good morning. Morning. All right. You all had your coffee? If you haven't, get some. If not, have your tea. My name is Pat the Butcher. Pleased to meet you because we've got some great meat to please you. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you all for coming along. I am here today to do the pig jigsaw puzzle. I spend my life in the meat business. I started when I was 15. I've been in it 50 odd years, and let me tell you something, I'm still learning. You can always learn something in this industry. I'm representing Cisco Foods of San Diego today. So here's what we're going to talk about, and I want to have some fun with this. This is not serious, let's have some fun. Because I like to have fun. This baby had a lot of fun until Saturday, and then it didn't have a lot of fun after that, as you can see. This hog is out of a farm in Ramona, a local farm, and we have a gentleman here that you can ask any questions to as we move through this. I believe this was about an 180-pound hog. Dressed out, I believe it's about 120, 130. Correct, sir? 126 dressed out, so it was 4 pounds off. Here's what I like to do when it comes to the world of pork. The pig jigsaw puzzle. We're going to take this apart, and we're going to talk about the different cuts. Now, I'm sure you know everything and where it is and it comes off, but if you don't, when you leave here today, you'll go, you know what? Pat the Butcher showed me where that St. Louis rib came from. Right, miss? And when we get to the saw work, I'm going to ask that you come round and take the saw. Just kidding you. And by the way, that's my trademark. So we're going to start. Have you noticed, chefs, how pork cheeks, beef cheeks, veal cheeks have become crazy popular? Help me out, yeah? And have you noticed how crazy priced they've got? Well, if you think about it, Cecil here only has 2 cheeks. You want a lot of cheeks. Look how many hogs have to be harvested to get those cheeks. So we're going to start the pig jigsaw puzzle from the snout to where its tail is. So we're going to start with the head. We're going to take the head off this baby, and then we'll remove the cheeks. So the cheeks, guys, obviously right here. Can everybody see that? These cheeks come right from here, then all of this just gets wasted. But in a pork plant, all of the meat off this head, that would go into, obviously, pork cheeks. Any meat left on would go into sausage. Nothing gets wasted. Let me tell you, Saturday when this hog got the last day, it went oink. And if they could can that oink, they would sell you that too. But it's very hard to catch it, you know what I mean? So we're going to put this baby to one side, and I'll have it staring at me rather than you. So here are the shoulders. What do we get out of pork shoulders that you all use? You said pork butts. Pork butts, predominantly used for slow cook, for braising, because they just eat so good, don't they? I'll show you a little ditty on this when I get to it, where you can make some nice pork short ribs out of the shoulder. Pork butts right now cost you probably $2.30, $2.40. You can make some really nice 10 to 12 ounce, even bigger, pork short ribs and turn that pork butt into some great money. So the first thing is this. What is this called here? It's called a hock. Can anybody tell me, how many legs does this wonderful hog have? Anybody from Cisco, how many hogs this got? How many legs? Does it? How many legs does it have? How many? No, you're off by a lot. A hog, and a steer, and a lamb, and a goat only has 2 legs. It's a trick question. 2 legs? 2, what's this? What's this? Help me out. I haven't had a lot of coffee yet. 2 shoulders. 2 legs, 2 shoulders. How many wings does a chicken have? How many drumettes does a chicken have? We wish it had 20, right? Unfortunately, it doesn't. So we're going to take the hocks off this baby. And what I've got to do is I've got to turn this blade round. Get that baby in there, right? Get that baby in there. There you go. We'll take these hocks off. Beautiful coloured pork. Pork hock. Then I'm going to take the shoulder, 5 ribs down, 5 right here. We'll take them off, then we'll take the other hock off. There's that baby. Move this up a little bit. Now, this is a lot easier to work with. Take off this hock. This is some gorgeous pork. Now the farmer tells me this is a Berkshire cross. Everybody familiar with different hogs? Do you know there are hundreds of breeds of hogs in the world today? We like to use the word Berkshire. We like to use the word Duroc. I'm going to tell you a little ditty. Anybody know how Duroc got called Duroc? Do you think those hogs were walking around with name tags on them, called them a Duroc hog? Now you're going to think that Pat the Butcher's BSing you, but I'm not. A gentleman farmer in the 1800s went over to Great Britain. He loved these certain hogs that he saw. They were probably Leicesters or Yorkshires. Brought them back, and this gentleman had a racehorse called Duroc. Thus, that breed became Duroc pork. Do you like that? I just told a fib. No, I didn't. You can Google it because Google's amazing. Berkshire. Great Britain. Berkshire. Predominantly black hogs, maybe have a white face, farmer, yes? He's the expert, I'm just the butcher. Huh? White points. Anybody ever seen the Gloucester Old Spot? Beautiful looking hog, great big spots all over it. Great pork. Now then, In the plant, you ever had smoked pork hock? This is what they use. You ever had a volcano pork shank? That's become quite popular, isn't it? On a volcano shank, they normally use the hind shanks. This one is great just for rendering down, taking the meat off, but that also gets used for that as well. But look at the colour of this pork. See how nice it is? Beautiful. That goes there. That goes there. I want to show you something here. Karubi ribs. Karubi ribs. Who likes to sell them? Somebody nod their head. You do so, right? Good. There's one. Here's two. You have to remember something. In the industry of meat today, you know, the guys keep saying to me at Cisco, what's new, Pat? What's innovative? What new steak cuts are there? You know, we have exploited these animals to the point that we're just making names up. Karibi ribs. First 3 ribs off the shoulder. And we get good money for them. Roasted in the oven, portioned. What you would do is you would take off this little spare rib piece here. That way, you see that, guys? You can roast that and just cut it. Because this piece of the brisket has been removed. Karubi ribs. That used to just get left on the shoulder and thrown into the spare rib. Now we call them Karubi. This is all part of the pork brisket bones. You know, where a cafe or a restaurant will buy a bunch, roast them off. Monday Night Football, guys will chew these, start an argument, throw them over the shoulder, and before you know it, there's a big bust-up going on. That's that low-cost little piece. I don't say cheap. I never say cheap. Low-cost little bit of that. Just got to have a drop of, well, water. We having fun? All right, these beautiful shoulders. What I'm going to do, I'm going to just bone out the whole shoulder. Might help if I put my goggles on. And then we're going to take the pork butt. Anybody ever sold neck bones? Pork neck bones? No? We need to go up to LA somewhere. Up there they love these pork neck bones, right? Collard greens, is that correct? South Carolina, love them. Now, this breaks down just like a shoulder of lamb. Just the same. Foreshanks, hind shanks, shoulder. Beautiful colored pork. So, normally, on this type of pork, it would have the skin on. And the farmers, they decided to take the skin off. It makes it a lot easier. Now, you can tell as I speak that I'm from Texas, right?
Yeah.
From Great Britain. And let me tell you something. The hogs, the butcher shops in England, you better have the skin on. Especially at Christmas. If there's no skin on top of here, we call it crackling. And what you would do, the butchers would have to score the legs of pork, put a little bit of salt in it and put it in the oven. If there's no crackling on that pork at Christmas, there's a riot in the town. But that would be coming out about 140 pound dressed hog. So here's the neck bone. What we would do over there years ago, butcher shops would split their hogs. You would bring the hogs in head on, dressed out, and in the trotters have been nicked off this, the farmers took them off. You would hang them in a doorway, and then you would split down and swing in across, and then you would split down the hog. Anybody like pork neck bones? You want them, sir? Hey, how are you? I remember you. There you go, pork neck bones. Now we have two beautiful pork shoulders. See that? Pork butt, and then pork picnic. Do we sell many picnics today? I don't think we do. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to take the picnic off the butt. This picnic style pork is predominantly used in supermarkets. You know, they'll buy them, knock them out, low cost. So that's a pork picnic. But that also cooks down really nice too. Here is the pork butt one. We'll do the other one. Then I want to show you how you make those pork short ribs. A little ditty for you. Why do we call them Boston pork butt? Yes.
They were packed in wood butts in Boston area.
What's your name?
Sarah.
Sarah? That's a great name, Sarah. Sarah, you're at the top of the class. You know, I have some of my young MAs, they'll go, Pat, pork butt. They don't get it, and I often wonder about it too, being a Brit butcher. Why the heck do you call the butt, and it comes out the shoulder, and that's the butt? But who am I? Exactly right. So it thus became Boston pork butt. Sarah, you are coming over here to cut the rest of this hog up. Okay, guys, there you go. 2 picnics. I haven't splashed you yet, have I? No. Not yet. But we're going to get to the good stuff. So here is the butt, the pork butt. How many of you use pork butts? Put your hands up. What we're going to do, this has a little blade bone in here. We're going to remove the blade bone. Now a lot of guys will buy them bone in, and a lot of guys will buy them boneless, because they're rendered down and then cooked really slow. Pork carnitas. But I want to show you something here that you can do, and you'll make nothing but money off it. There's your blade bone. If this was beef, I'm going to do 2 things with you. Up in the shoulder, it has exactly the same blade bone running through the shoulder as the hog. When they take that blade bone out and make a shoulder clod, what lies right here under this bone is a top blade. Top blade is used for what? Everybody say, top blade for the second most tender steak is a, say, flat iron. Flat iron, you all got it right. Flat iron. I always like to use these examples of what else comes off the animal. Clean this baby up a little bit. Change knives. You having some fun with this?
Yes, sir.
Say yes, because we're being filmed. You see that blade bone? And did you all try the belly pork? How was it? Delicious. Isn't it amazing how popular pork belly has become? You know, 5, 6 years ago, I used to wonder, yeah, we're making bacon from it, but what about doing some nice roast belly of pork? Now it's like the latest thing, isn't it? There's the blade bone. Got that? James. Chef's after me, he wants the bones. Now, here is an example of a boneless pork butt. I better save the fat too. So what I want to show you off this, if you have them, you can do this. Take off this pork here, because you're rendering it down anyway, correct? Take off that. Seam it along. That goes into your slow cook, correct? Then this here, look at this. Beautiful. You can braise them off. Look at the color of that pork. You can go 16 ounces and bigger. Braise those babies off slow, apples, onions, and get 19 bucks, something like that, depending where you are. But the color of this pork is absolutely gorgeous. You could sell that as a pork, boneless, braised, short rib. Do you like that, miss? Yeah. You can do that? Yeah? Look at that. And you'll pay what? $2.50 a pound? Look at the color, is that nice? So you did a great job raising Cynthia here. Or was it William? I'm not sure, I couldn't tell. Because you took the skin off, I couldn't tell it was a sow or a boar. Make a bit of room here. Jim will leave that one whole. That will be braised. Now we're moving down to the legs. Now what I want to do for you, I want to make a steamship. Anybody ever used a steamship of pork? Yes, ma'am. Great piece of meat. So to make a steamship, you have to break the legs. So that that baby will stand up.
And that last cut is on the last.
Right next to the sirloin. That's your loin, your bellies, your racks, your porterhouse pork chops, your French rack chop, all come off this. 2 bellies come off there too. St. Louis ribs, loin backs, all come out of that. But let's work on these legs for a minute. Did I get you? No. Nice coloured pork. This is the sirloin right here. Can you see that? If this was a hind quarter of beef, this would be the top butt where my hand is, and then the round. From here would be the short loin, porterhouse, T-bones, boneless strip loin, tenderloin. Now the tenderloin is still in here. Pork tenderloin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break off the sirloins on an angle that we can make a nice steamship leg of pork and it will stand up. So this would be top butt if it was beef. just the same. The sirloin end, top butt. What they do with that in the supermarkets, they'll just cut it with the bone in, pork sirloin chops. If you bone it out, you can do pork cutlets with that as well. But I want to make this steamship for you. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to French the shank. You having fun with this? Just nod your head and say, yeah, Pat, it's great. Our president will be watching this later on. So I'm going to French the shank. Now, remember me telling you pork shanks, just like lamb shanks, pork hock, front, pork shank. Veal, foreshank, hind shank. Who sells veal? Which are more money, foreshanks or hind shanks? Nod your heads and say hind shanks. Because there's more diameter of meat. Foreshanks of lamb, hind shanks of lamb. Foreshanks longer, little bit of meat on the side. Hind shanks will stand like a volcano. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to French this. And then I'll remove the meat because I want this bone to stand up. So we'll do that there. So we even do this with lamb legs. It's called a lamb carving leg. That could go into the stew pot with the chef's other stuff.
Check.
French the bone a little bit. Save the bones, as the chef says.
Bow, bow, bow. Bow, 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 bow.
Clean this out.
Bow, bow, bow. Bow, bow.
So what I'm going to do here,
Bow, bow. Bow, bow, bow.
remove the H bone,
Bow, bow, bow.
because you cannot carve around that. Save that baby. Clean her up a little bit. Then what you would do, now Jim's been making some incredible prosciutto. That would be strong there, and there would be steamship leg of pork. So what you would do, you would hold the handle there, and you just carve for a buffet. We do sell them all ready to go. You don't have to do all of this work, but that would be your steamship leg. Do you like that? That look good? We'll put that one there. Sirloin. Jim, do you want these left bone in? Where's he gone?
Yes, please.
You want them left bone in? Who said yes, please? Wrong chef. And I believe this, all this pork has a good home, a loving home that it's going to go to. So we'll keep them like that. I want to show you something too. We're going to bone this baby out and seam the leg. We're doing good. Who likes ham? Everybody, right? What is a fresh ham? Fresh ham is this. Straight off the hog, not cured, not injected, ready to go. That's a fresh leg of pork. Now, different hams, I know that Chef Jim is really into prosciutto right now. And the way they make prosciutto is what an art that is. Incredible. Again, I'm talking about beef as well as pork. If this was a round of beef hanging up, anybody ever sold a top round of beef? Anybody ever sold an inside round? A bottom round? A beef knuckle? All comes out of this. As Jim left us, he has. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just show you where the different muscles come out of this. Then we'll take a coffee break. And then we'll come back and we'll work this out. And we're done. So we're right good on time, right, Jan? Yep. So we'll seam this baby out. Anybody ever heard of a peeled knuckle? Yeah, you are definitely at the top of this class. I'll show you where that knuckle comes from. Right here. That is a peeled knuckle if it was beef. Same thing, you're getting 2 educations for the price of 1 today. Right? In the plant, when they're breaking the rounds out, they put a hook there and down that thing comes. So that would be like a knuckle of pork where you would get ball tip steaks from. Follow me on this? Are you good? I'm not losing you, am I? Sure? All right. Then, I mentioned earlier, the sirloin of pork. Right there. It almost looks like a boneless top butt of beef, which is exactly what it would be. So you'd cut your sirloins and seam that out just the same. The top round and the bottom round. Who can answer what we call a bottom round in the meat industry? Say a gooseneck. Say a gooseneck.
Goose egg?
What was it?
Goose egg?
A gooseneck.
Gooseneck.
He said it was a goose egg. He was kidding. It's a goose neck. That is the bottom round. You never see it in the description when my guys are selling it. They go, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, that's the bottom round, not the top round of the animal. You know what I was told? If you can't have fun doing this, you might as well give it up. Right, guys? Would you agree? Do you know, I think I'm going to call my wife to go to the store and get me some pork chops for dinner tonight. She won't know what to ask for, except pork chops. Here is your hind shank. Now imagine that braised. Look at the meat on that. I believe that we also do these fully cooked in the broth. I know you incredible chefs want to make your own. Not too much money. You know, fall's coming, it's getting cold now, isn't it? We're down to 80 degrees today. You could put one of them out on the plate tonight. 18 to 20 ounces and get 20 bucks easy. As you can tell, I'm a salesman as well as a butcher, right? And I know I've been told to save everything. So here is the round. This would be the femur bone. Same thing. Beef would be the femur bone. Anybody here market those split femur bones? Italian style? Whereas they take the femur bone in beef, split it 6 inches long, split it through the middle. You guys work your amazing seasoning on it and broil them under the grill. So here's your round now, boned out. Top round, bottom round. Seams out just the same. You could almost say this is veal. Look at the colour, it's beautiful colour. Top inside round. Bottom round, flat. Have you tried that new Mastercarve ham that we're marketing? It's a gooseneck like this. This part here, guys, where my hand is, this would be called the heel. Heel in, heel out. When they make those hams, this has to come out. You can't use that. They clean them up like this. And then what they do is they're now curing that, and it's called a Mastercarve ham. And I have to tell you, I think it's the best ham we've come out with, and I don't mean just us. Style of ham. They applewood smoke cook them, and they're nice and flat, and you just carve them like that, and you get beautiful slices. Mastercarve ham. And that's what they're now using. If this was beef, you would have the eye round on, and the beef bottom round flat. Same thing. Do you like the way you're getting double education today? Because if you don't, they won't have me back. So, there's that. I mean, look at this. Beautiful pork top round. Man, you could string that, roast it, slice it like that. You could split it through the middle and make some nice cutlets out of it too. But when we get into this next, I'll show you where the porterhouse come from, the rack French chops, the 8-bone rack of lamb, the pork belly, the St. Louis, the spare rib, all comes out of there. So guys, if you want to take a 10-minute break, then we can resume. Grab some coffee, do whatever you got to do.
Do you need help with anything, sir? You need me to clean anything off?
Do you know what I think we could do? We could put this somewhere and get 2 more sheet pans.
Okay, we'll do.
know. But are they licensed?
I think so.
Are we fired up? Yeah. Get started?
Shall we get started?
All right. Okie dokie. Okay, guys, let's get started again and knock this one out, and then we can all go about our business, right? So, I took the head off, and I'm just going to nick the cheeks. Not too much meat on these cheeks, on any of them, but we'll take them off there. This was a cheeky pig, or a cheeky hog. But I guess they're real popular these days. And there you have the pork cheeks. Now, obviously, like I said, in the plant, any meat left on that. Jim, did you still need this or not? You want it? So, see how that is? That is how they come packed from the plant. This has still got some of the old you-know-what in it. We'll get rid of that. Leave that meat on there. Where I'm from in the UK, we would take these off the hog's heads, score the skin, the crackling, and it'd still have the jawbone in. It was called roast chawl. And then you would just eat that crackling and that meat off the chawl. Get rid of this good stuff. Keep the table nice and clean. Now we're getting into some really nice product. So, here's where you get the bellies of the hog. One belly. Two bellies. So, bellies predominantly, as we know, go into bacon, right? Smoked bacon. Where I'm from, the belly bacon, we would call it streaky bacon. If ever you go over to the UK, you're going to go, what the heck is this type of bacon? You have the loin eye and part of the belly left on the bacon. So when you get 3 of those rashers on a plate with 3 eggs and black pudding and beans and tomatoes and a couple of pints, you know you've had breakfast, right? But we tend to do just belly bacons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the spare rib. And the farmer nicked all that wonderful crackling off this. So this would be your spare rib as we take this out. Now the hogs that are fabricated in the plants run a bit heavier than this, so you have that much larger spare rib. But the spare rib out of the hog Anybody familiar, and I know you are, with St. Louis ribs? Where do the St. Louis ribs come from? They come out of the belly. I've took off that brisket bone earlier, so if you could visualize this being 3.5 to 4 pounds, even 5 pounds, that would be your full spare rib. We grade them by weight. But to make a St. Louis rib, here's what they do. There's a vertebrae runs right here, and they square them off. They remove this, and remember in a plant there's all kinds of saws going. The hogs would be bigger. Thus then becomes your St. Louis rib. Amazing, isn't it? Pork spare ribs heavy, St. Louis. What do they do with those rib pieces? Now remember, that would be out a lot heavier hog than this. Be up to 300 pounds. Yeah, rib tips. Go to the top of the class, sir. Sounds like he knows a bit about pork. He knew this hog personally. Because he fed it. And you gave it a lot of apples, right? Made cider, got the pig drunk. Saturday, bye-bye. I'm terrible, ain't I? Rib tips. And what do we do with rib tips? Like I said, the restaurants buy them. There's happy hour. There's the fight on. There's the game on. Guys chew this, throw it over the shoulder, and before you know it, there's a huge fight going on in the pub, right? Rib tips. St. Louis. Pork bellies. Where's the chef gone? He's over here. I'll let him take the bone out of that one. There's that. Now, here's where we get some good stuff. Pork porterhouse chops, and I can't cut them because I don't have a bandsaw running. Pork porterhouse, just like beef, would have the pork tenderloin in, and in beef would have the beef tenderloin in. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to count these ribs. I'm going to break that baby there. So your tenderloin runs right here, down the animal, both sides. If we were going to cut pork porterhouse, we would split this, clean this up a little. That's where I've just nicked part of the rib. That would be split down the middle, and away you would go with that pork tenderloin in and make some beautiful pork porterhouse chops. But what I'm going to do, because I can't cut them, I'm going to whip out the tenderloin, and then we'll bone this loin out. And what you can do with that is, obviously, you'll get center-cut boneless pork chops. Boneless pork loin chops, yeah. That's that sirloin end. So I hope you're all going to have pork for dinner tonight. Beautiful coloured pork. Congratulations to our friend the farmer here for making it so gorgeous. So there's your boneless loin with the tenderloin left in. Now, imagine doing this. Clean that tender a little bit. Do this one too. Square that bit of flank edge off. Then you roll that. How nice would that be? Imagine that roasted. So you've got that boneless pork loin and the tenderloin all in one. Applesauce, roasted Brussels sprouts, roasted potatoes, nice bottle of silver oak, some nice brown argeois, gravy. You going to cook this tonight? Yes. Yeah, I wish you would. So I'm going to leave that. Where's he gone? He's disappeared. James, you want this left whole?
Yes, please.
Yeah? There's your boneless loins. Here, now, I'm going to have to work some magic on this so that I can just... Now, in a plant, they would just split this and knock off the chine bone. So what I'm going to have to do... This used to be an item of meat for our chefs that are maturing a little bit. That if this was lamb or veal, it used to be called a hotel. Because many, many years ago, a lot of restaurants ran bandsaws. More product would come in literally whole, whereas now we get it virtually ready to go into the oven. That would be called a hotel rack veal, because they'd run that through the bandsaw, knock off the chine bone, and away you go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to V-cut this. There. You know, I tried out for a surgeon and I failed. Three more. Four more. That's why I failed as a surgeon. Got it. So this is the backbone, the chine bone that runs all the way down the animal. Not too bad, huh? It's good. Now here is your 2 racks of pork. Look at that. Make a nice crown of pork out of that. You would see, by removing the chine bone, you could obviously cut through it. If the chine bone was not cut through, you'd need a meat cleaver, wouldn't you? Imagine this: Frenched, tied together, and bent round. Crown of pork. But what I'm going to do is we're going to French the rack. Jim, you said this was going on with me, right? Yes, sir. Call my missus and tell her to put the oven on. We're having rack of pork tonight, baby. Frenching. I never talk much when I do this. And you wonder where I wear a chainmail glove, right? Now, obviously, we would need to clean these a lot more to pretty them up. There's one. Look at that, baby. Isn't that nice? Who likes rack of pork? Nobody, Jim, so I'm having them. We're almost there. All the little finger, that we're going to ground pork. Of course, now if I was making a crown of pork, this would definitely be a lot cleaner. Can't leave any of this on. I know what my wife would say, you better get them cleaner, man. She's been married to a butcher for 47 years. Not bad, huh? Because she might see this. Hi, Di. Okay, so what we would do, guys, with this, that would be a nice 14 rib crown of pork if it was tied together like that. Do you want to make it? Shall we? Do you want to make a crown of pork? Shall we make a crown of pork, Jim?
Why not?
Okay, now I'm going to have to take that away. All right. So here's what we'll do. See if I bought the stitch needle? Yes, I did. It's a great tool to have in the back of your car. Not that, you know, I mean, just in case you have to stitch up a crown of pork. Beautiful pork. You see that knot I just tied? That was the first knot in the meat business I got shown how to make. And it took me forever to get it right. They used to make me go home at night and practice on a 2-pound bag of sugar. And my mother used to go, "What the hell are you doing? You're spilling sugar everywhere." I said, the boss wants me to make that, and I can't do it. But I tell you what, I never forgot once I learned. Almost there. Stuff that with sage and onion, apples. Oh, beautiful. You see why I wear my glasses now, huh? You want to watch me try doing a stitch needle? It's a joke. You've never been a butcher until you've stuck that in your finger, because my word, does it hurt. See that? And I've done it lots of times. Any questions for our incredible farmer here? Do you want to ask about Cynthia or William that was? Because he's the gentleman that raised it. Out of Ramona, sir, yes? Alpine. Now, if you were to put some dressing in that, right? Christmas or what have you. Obviously, I'd clean these bones a little more than that. They've got to be clean as a new pin. And if you put a dressing in that, it'll shape that crown of pork. Any good, Jim? Do you have a bag ready for me to take this? You do? So, guys, that's basically, you know, a hog cutting on a pig jigsaw puzzle from the snout to the tail. I hope you've enjoyed it, you know, and I hope you've got a lot out of it. I need to sign my contract with YouTube in a few minutes. I'm expecting to make a lot of money off this. Just kidding you, in case Kevin's looking. So, guys, it is my pleasure. Pat the Butcher, pleased to meet you, meet to please you. Thanks for coming along. It's all yours. Oh. James, it is all yours.
Thank you very much. We're going to have Anthony Sensei, Chef Anthony's going to come and talk to you a little bit about what's going to happen to all this pork, because it's not finished. It hasn't finished serving its purpose. It's being donated to Anthony at J6, and he has very graciously decided to do a chef celebration there. Chef Celebration is a little foundation that we've been running for about 20 years.